Chasing
Woohoo!
Dirt show.
Yes.
Legendary in our own minds, Chasing Dirt. People do love the name, Jerry. Jerry, good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too, Jack. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, my kids, I tell them we're famous because we're on the Chasing Dirt show, and they're like, "We've never heard of it." So I'm like, you come to my house for Thanksgiving and Christmas. You should at least know what shows I'm on." So,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
tell my friends reach out to me with, man, you're in the cleaning business, man. What happened? And I go, this is a 96 billion, 93,
yeah,
$96 billion industry. Oh crap, I didn't know that. I go,
yeah,
You remember COVID, right? And they go, oh yeah. I go, you
yeah.
made money during that? I go, well, we made a lot of money during COVID.
Everybody needs some money.
But
Yeah.
we have a special guest today, Taylor Riley with Boom Facility Service Advisors. What's up, Taylor?
Woo, Taylor.
What's going on, Jack? What's going on, Jerry? How you doing?
Good man. How are you?
Not too bad.
Awesome.
But we kind of get on here and just kind of talk shop. And again, I appreciate you taking time, but I think I want to do this before we dive into what you do, Taylor, overall. Is there any, I guess, top of mind this week that you guys have on anything cleaning related? Jerry, I'll put you on the spot. Is there anything that just aha moment this week?
No, I think one of the things that this week has been like a crazy kind of a thread through a lot of the conversations I've had with some of the people, whether we're coaching or just in general in the business is how is customer service related to customer retention, and then also gaining new customers. And I know Taylor's going to help us with that a little bit today. But how do we? What are the things that we can sell or promote about our company, and how we handle or do or perform customer service? And it's things like culture. And culture is such a word today that is just like it's overused in our lingo, but I think undervalued in our leadership. People just aren't, they don't see how important it is. But yeah, that customer service and customer retention. And then also, like I said, one of the big things right now is how do we do a really good job of it? How do we translate that of how we do it into a sales, type presentation or document or you know video, whatever it is? How do we communicate that and communicate that well so that there's that's a big part of the value of our sales presentation. So been helping people with that, and that's, I mean, now I'm having to learn even more because you start adding technology, all this stuff into it.
It's crazy.
It's not easy. It takes a little bit of work to get it straight. So
No, it's crazy. Like the more I peel back the layers, it's just the stuff you've got to know, and I wouldn't say be expert, at least be knowledgeable of it. But I think I had epiphany this week. I think my epiphany this week, Jerry, was I'm working on this project. I'm just like I don't not shortcuts in a bad way, but what if I could give what is it cheat code? My kid plays video games all the time, and he's like, "What's the cheat code?" And he gets into this God mode, and he gets a God mode. You can do anything you want. You go around and just destroy everything. And Taylor, you got kids, you probably know God mode. But I think the takeaway that I'm going to leave the industry with, I've made the commitment to myself, is you start here. I just got off a call with two people just starting their companies off in Jacksonville, and then one is in Dallas. They're just starting out. And you can just see the overwhelm feeling of all this stuff they've got to learn. But how do you take something from day one, or maybe you're day 300, or maybe you're day 10 years into it, but how do you take them from where they started and where they want to be and get them as quickly as possible to that? So I think what I'm going to be working on, Jerry, and I think I'll share it with you, but it's going to be this. It's kind of like you heard the analogy that when you're growing up, if you knew now, if you knew what's the saying? If I knew now back when I was 18 or 22, how would your
yeah,
life be different?
yeah,
And I think I'm trying to bring that to the business. I want to bring that through our mentorship and coaching. Is we're going to make you not crawl through a lot of crap, make a lot of mistakes, waste a lot of time, spend a lot of money, but we're going to take you from here, wherever that here is today, day one or day 5 years into it, and get you to where you could be in less time, less money, and you're going to learn a hell of a lot more. So I think that if that makes any sense whatsoever, I think that's what my mission
yeah.
in life now is.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Hey, if you're listening to the Chase and Dirt show and you want to sponsor us, we need makeup artists bad, because I just looked into the camera. I'm like, what is this all going on right here? Like, my eyebrows are just like growing like that. Sorry, Taylor, I did not prepare for this, but we need
I think
sponsors,
you look
Jack,
good,
so we
Jerry.
can get makeup artists and all this. So
Well,
I'm
we actually,
digressing. I know what you said was amazing, but I'm like, what's going on up here? So
have a kind of a quasi sponsor. We had Maggie on
yeah,
from Sure Check Background Screening, and I'm going to put it in the show notes. Taylor, we're going off in the budget, but she came on last Friday, did a phenomenal job about background screening. She actually gave us $100 worth of free background checks. So I'm going to run it on my dates for this weekend, and I'm going to figure out who I should not go out with this weekend. So I'm going to use that credit myself, but I'll put that in the show notes. But
oh
I
wow.
think we quasi got a sponsor through that $100 gift certificate. So
We need, like, I don't know, like Gillette razors or somebody, or we need Maybelline makeup or something. Good night.
we need a new genetic pool. That we need.
I was gonna
DNA.
say, I don't know that makeup would do much for all this anyway. Sorry, I digress. I just was,
So that's
And
that's
just,
my mission now is
yeah.
take from here to here and to get you some makeup and a sponsor. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, just a disclaimer: if you're going on a date with Jack this weekend, he's not going to run the background check on you. So
I am. I need to. I need to.
you won't have any dates this weekend if they watch this show. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
no, well, luckily they yeah. I'll leave it at that. But Taylor, let's take
Sorry,
a dive.
Taylor,
Like
but we're
Taylor-
terrible.
yeah, this is Taylor. Like let's talk about you, about Boom. Tell us a little about you, how you got in the business, kind of how you evolved, and what you're doing now at Boom, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so I started a commercial cleaning business with a partner. He was my best friend from high school. We built it up over 5 years. We've since sold it. My part in that business was marketing, so I kind of learned digital marketing from the ground up, and then we had a big focus on like SEO, and some of that kind of played into like CRM and development and things like that, and that's kind of like what we're talking about today. But before we get there, you mentioned about the cleaning industry. I do have something I want to tell you about that. So I'm actually absolutely shocked at how quickly AI is progressing in the cleaning space.
Yeah.
Do details. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So as far as like admin, there's so much that AI can do on like the admin side of things.
Mhm.
And it seems like every week it's getting better and better and better. Just a year ago, I was writing a blog post about how cleaning businesses should use AI. And I went back to update it and I was shocked at how outdated it is in just a year's time.
Yeah.
I mean, even like on the search engine optimization side of things, it's crazy how much search volume like ChatGPT and those AI models are taking from Google. And even Google now has like the AI mode and how much search is actually going to that. So even SEO is completely going to be changed here in the next year.
Yeah, we were at Spartan at their BSC seminar about a month ago, and Jim Harris. We had a conversation on this with the board, and not board, but the kind of the one of the conversations we had in front of the group there. But Jim Harris made a good point, because I'm concerned about AI, because my daughter's in college. I'm like, my son's in college. Like, what should I study? I go, well, something that AI can't take. First of all, that's something. So use your hands.
Mhm.
And I have concerns with robotics, and robotics right now within the cleaning are really boxy, and they don't look, they're just boxes, and they run around, sweep and mop or vacuum. But, the humanoids are the ones that scare me. But, Jim Harris with Janitronics made a good point that with all the AI that's going on, it's actually going to maybe help our industries in some regards, because the cleaning industry will be the last one to kind of fully adopt the manual efforts that go out in the field. And you think about what the hardest part is, just finding good labor. But what jobs are going to be displaced if they're going to come into this industry and say, I just need a job. I need to get something going. And it's an entryway into a $93 billion industry. So AI is scaring the hell out of me, but anyway, we digress. But
what is one thing, or what's an example of it, what it is doing now that it wasn't doing a year ago, just in the industry?
Yeah, so like on the admin side of things, it's crazy. You can just using ChatGPT for example, you can upload any of your financials and have it scan through it and give you like a full analysis of your business. You could pick out different areas that you might need to improve on. It'll find things that you can never do spending hours and hours looking at it, and it does it in a split second.
Wow.
But it also can automate a ton of different tasks if you're using it correctly. So
What's an example of one? Because if somebody's watching, like just that financial piece, like I have customers that like I guess I need a bookkeeper, a CPA, you know, and so that's a great tool. What's a automated tool now that would help with, let's just say, an everyday task that they might do in the office or on the backside of that business?
Yeah, so one of the companies that I'm working with, we're trying to set up. It's not live yet, but we're trying to set up a AI bot that handles complaints for them. So how it works is if any of their customers have a complaint, it'll text message, and that text message gets picked up by the AI bot. The AI bot's trained. It knows everything about the business. It knows everything about commercial cleaning. You train it on all that, and you give it specific instructions. So it sounds like you're talking to a human, but it's just AI handling it very quickly. It's able to look at your CRM, look at all your customer data and what it knows about that person already. So it's not having to repeat questions. And then once it gathers all that information, it forwards it to the correct people, and then there's a string of follow-up. So it just kind of it's improving things where normally you have a person that has to handle that, and one problem, people are not the most reliable. I mean, obviously the business owner is gonna handle everything, but if you have an employee handling that situation, and they're off that day, they're on vacation, they're sick. Whereas this AI agent, once you get it dialed in, it's never going to have an off day. It's going to be repeatable.
It's consistent
every single time.
Yeah.
So what's big right now in our industry, especially for the people that we're working with, Taylor, is we encourage people to look at VAs, you know, virtual assistants, because they're fairly well priced, they're accessible, and they're not always needed full time. Is it feasible to say that AI is running that over as well? I don't want to say it too loud because I don't want virtual assistant companies to be freaking out, but because I mean we use one in our company as well. So
I imagine at some point those virtual assistant companies are going to change, and this is just a hunch of mine, but I imagine they're going to be building out their own AI agents, and they're going to be selling you their built out AI agents and not employees.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I saw an advertising, the AI, this not advertising, it was a news article, but there's this media company coming out, and you think about the cost of, like, Taylor, you've done them before, I think along the way. Jerry and I kind of just throw this one together live, but you know, Ricky does with Cleaning Cocktails a really full production. But this company's coming out, and they're going to be producing through AI 5,000 shows that kick out 5,000 unique shows that kick out 3,000 shows a week. And they're thinking the cost is going to be less than $5 a show. So you think about all the cameras, all the time, the editing is a huge part of it as well. But think about that. They're going to come in and just going to say, listen, if we can make a show for $5 a show, and it's got good content through AI, you're going to see these you're going to see more virtuals, you know, what is it, like AI stars probably coming out of this thing that they're not real, but people recognize them. But then you go out there and you start grabbing your advertising dollars, because of those 3,000 shows a week, there's going to be certain ones that grab hold of people and people are going to go to, and they're going to be sponsors and advertisers. So yeah, it's crazy times.
Crazy how our country is so technology. We're moving forward, and then we're so like rustic and caveman acting and how we treat each other. It's so crazy.
That's yeah, we're gonna Terminator's gonna be coming real before it's all said and done. That's the takeaway. So Taylor, let's talk about this, because I think this is how we started connecting on this front. Like, two of my biggest complaints with the industry, and again, it's a complaint it's solvable, but I think there's factors that get into it. But you know, there's finance, which Jerry and I got bags on a few weeks ago. If you missed that episode, watch that, because I think they bring a resource to the table that's worthwhile and needed. But two things is, like, customer data, for the most part, most companies don't have a good process to capture their customer data. I'm talking the company, who the contacts are. Here's the details of my accounts. Here's our communication chains, whether I talk to them or whether I emailed them or my admin did or even my AI did. But they don't have that customer data and from a good experience and ability to look at data and really say, what can we do not only with our customers, but also, I use the analogy that if you've taken the last 10 years and every potential client you would have met, if you had them in a database that you could market to, what would that be worth to you? And I think that's how we started kind of working together and kind of figuring out some things. But CRMs have not been fully adopted within the commercial cleaning industry. And I think that's something you're trying to kind of, solve. So I want to talk about that first of all. And then the second complaint that I have is, again, companies not having their data in a central source of truth that they can manage these customers, but also prospects. The second thing is phone calls, not answering phone calls and not, again, with AI, you can go 24/7, but what is that? Every time you miss that call or every time you had that contact that just fell off your radar, what does that cost you overall? And I think let's dive into the CRM piece first of what you're working on.
Yeah. So what I noticed with me personally and a lot of other cleaning business owners is that it's very time intensive to build out a CRM. And so most people just put it off and they grow their company to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and they're trying to play catch up at that point. A lot of people I talk to are still, keeping everything on an Excel spreadsheet. So what I tried to do when I built out the CRM is I tried to make it as simple as possible. I tried to put any of the workflows together, any of the structure of a CRM, get it all built out. So that way it's like plug and play. The cleaning business comes in, they've got their forms integrated. So information is automatically going into the system. We have different workflows built out. So on like the marketing side of things, once those forms get submitted, they automatically get put into a workflow that starts sending them out. Email marketing, you can also set up text messaging, things like that. But the whole purpose is just to try and make it as quick and as efficient as possible. So that way a cleaning business can come in with, take their Excel spreadsheet, or even if they have a previous CRM that they were using that they just don't have built out, they can plug all that information and just be ready to go.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing too, is like that data, that information that you have, again, customers is one thing. You want to keep those. So that's the main takeaway is what are we doing to kind of keep our touch points in front of them? We see, they have a fluid experience because everything's shared in one spot, but those prospects are the big ones as well. It's like when those leads come in, or that you go out, and quite honestly, you can go out and buy a list of, here's my ICP. It's this type of account. On a 20-mile radius, you can buy data set and load it up there and put a campaign together. And you start we use the term, I guess everybody uses the term, but omnidirection marketing. It may be a cold call, maybe an email campaign, maybe knocking on the doors. But once you get those contacts into your database, man, it's how are you going to go about trying to convert them into raising their hand and saying, hey, we're interested in the services you offer. So, for those companies that don't have a CRM or just not aware of what a CRM can do with them, I would encourage them to reach out to Taylor and just have some high level conversations because, people say, oh, it's costly. This is not a costly program we're looking at. The second thing is, I think you have to look at technology, whether it be AI or a CRM or an automatic caller or a widget on your website. It works 24/7. 24/7 is consistent. And the way I look at it, let's just say worst case, it costs $500 a month or $1,000 or even $2,000. Let's just say 1,000 for round numbers, but it's not that much. But if it's working 24/7, is really $1,000 a month. It's something that's working 24 hours 7. And we've had some customers come back to us and go, well, I don't get calls after 6 o'clock. Well, how do you know? Well, they don't leave messages. Well, guess what? People call. I don't leave messages anymore because if they're answering the phone during business hours, why would I leave a message after hours? So I think these are things that float through my head is that you don't know what you're missing. So.
Yeah, and there's a ton of different features inside this CRM. It's kind of customizable to every cleaning business, but like you mentioned, that the phone calls, there's a bunch of ways we can kind of tie AI into that. So you can set it up to where it rings a few times. If you don't answer, it'll switch to an AI agent, and that it's basically a voice agent that talks to them. Hey, we're unable to take your call right now. But rather than prompting them to leave a message, it'll gather some information from them, and that way it can send them to the right people. So let's
It'll
say you
actually,
only have.
will it actually book a call too? Book a meeting with them? Is that can
Yeah,
you do that as well?
it's tied into your calendar if you want it to be. So it'll tie into your calendar. If you have specific times set for like walkthroughs, it'll determine if it's a walkthrough that the person's calling about. It'll give them a couple dates that they could pick from. It'll book it, and then you'll just get a notification. Hey, you got a walkthrough scheduled for this date.
Wow,
Right.
that's impressive. So
Yeah.
What are some of the what are some of the things you're hearing though? What do people push back on CRM? Again, I think you talked about it. One is this, you buy a CRM or you don't really ever buy it. You kind of just subscribe to it, and out of the box, these things are not set up for contract cleaners. They're set up for just general businesses. And there's probably, how much would you dare guess how many hours are probably involved in properly setting up a CRM from day one for a contract cleaner to get to the point that everything's dialed in, and let's say 90% dialed in? How much time would you guess it would take?
I don't know. Every time I think I'm 90% dialed in, I get it a little bit further down the road. So, I mean, I put thousands of hours into this thing, but yeah, just my guess is probably weeks and weeks worth of work to fully dial in to get the basics taken care of. And that's pretty much any CRM. And then what we try to do is just try and fast track that for you. So that way you're coming in, we got everything set up, and then we just show you how to use it.
So that's goes back to my original conversation of companies starting here. How do we get them to here quicker? And I think that's what you're doing, is saying, listen, you want to figure this damn thing out? You want to get consultants that'll take your money, or do you want me to have it already set up for you within a week? I think that's the huge thing. That I love what you're working on. So
Yep, it's really cool. I'm learning more and more about it every single day, and they're adding new features. And like we were talking about with AI, there's so many different options in there now to utilize AI, and you're kind of building out an AI employee for your business, and it knows everything about your business. You train it on every detail you want it to know, and it knows how to respond. And there's so many different use cases for it, whether you want it to answer questions for you on your social media, answer questions at text message, chat bots on your website. It's a really cool feature that's on there now.
you're working on a client too that is, again, this is one of Jerry and I's clients, but this is how we kind of all came together. But everything for a new startup is all in his head, right? So it's all in his head.
Mhm.
And what he needs to do in order to scale, and he realizes this, but in order to scale, he needs to say, I need to take this stuff out of my head. As here's the steps on the startup, T minus 30 days, T minus 20 days, who's doing what, who's responsible for what. And you're looking to take that whole process and integrate that into the CRM. So when you do get a lead, you do get that through the pipeline, you do close that, and when you close it, the contract is get executed through the CRM. It gets stored in the CRM. But then you start that clock of, okay, here's the 10 people that are involved with this startup, and here's the T minus this many days, and here's what you need to do by this date. And you're basically automating that. So you're allowing that owner or that sales manager or whoever had before managing all of this data and telling people what to do. And again, they're telling them to do the same things every time. But now it's all in a process that says, here's your 5 things you need to do for this startup this week. Boom, go.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I've always looked at the CRM as being like a marketing and sales platform, and then working with you, and then working with your client that you introduced me to. I'm starting to realize that this thing can also be a part of your operations, and the whole purpose is just to try and free up some of that time for that person and be able to like scale it, like you talked about.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is just trying to come up with a way that we can onboard customers and automate and free up some of that time, but then also have all that information associated with that contact. So you can quickly go in there and you see everything. You see the onboarding process, what's left. You can see the communications you've had with them. And something that you told me that I've been using a lot now is you want your CRM to be a central point of truth.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that is what we're trying to do to make sure all that takes place in one spot rather than spreading it out over numerous different platforms.
Taylor, I think so. What you just said, I think, is very key, especially to guys like me. I ran my company off of like people because this is a people industry, right? And so for somebody like me, I'm sitting and listening. I'm like, and my mind is like all over the place. I'm like, oh man, we're replacing people. That's not good. That's not good. It's people are so good, and that's how the industry is made. That's how customer service and retention and goodness to your employees are. And I would encourage people and back me up on this. It's not to replace you, it's to free up your time, because when you said that, I think that will resonate with people, because even like in these small businesses, the two things they're looking for the most is time and money,
Yeah.
And so if you're out and you're listening to this and you're kind of like AI is kind of like, man, I'm just not into it and all. Don't look at it from that perspective. Looking at from the perspective I look at it and is if I could free up 2 hours a week or 3 hours a week of my operations manager by including or implementing the AI tool, um, they would be like beyond themselves to have that more time to work on other stuff to advance the company forward. And so even with what you said about, putting your finances into Jet GTP and saying, what do I need to do to improve or fix or whatever that is? If I'm a single owner of a business and I might have one part-time office person or my wife or husband helping me or a grandparent or a parent, and I've got 6 or 7 employees, these tools are something that you can implement into your business, and make vast improvements quickly, to where you can get staffing in place and office staff. So don't look at it as a negative. I'm a little bit older guy, and I'm sometimes set in my ways. But I think the benefit of my generation is we have the wisdom of what it used to be and how it functioned, but we have the discernment that of things like AI, that this is a tool that we can use to improve on those things and move our companies forward. So that's a really good that what you brought up there. It's about freeing up time. I think that's a really good a sales approach to introducing AI to people's CRMs,
Hmm.
and to their sales and marketing staff. Because, in this industry, I mean, Jack, it's fair to say you and I are we're flipping the coin on a little bit, but and pushing people forward. But it's not like having a sales and marketing team. Is if you're under $5 million, it's almost unheard of. And now we're like, you can have it earlier. It's just what tools are you going to use to get it there?
I'll
And
say this. I think I'm saying companies less than $2 million, if they have the right tech stack, I think they can run with the $5 to $10 million companies
Yeah.
overnight. The
overnight,
second thing this is my country boy Texas analogy that I'll use for technology. But Jerry, if I came to you and said, listen, we got to cut down 100 trees this week. And we'll give you a hatchet, an axe, or a chainsaw. Which one are you choosing?
oh, absolutely.
Why are you choosing the chainsaw? It's the most productive. And that's the same way you got to look at robotics, the same way you got to look at technology, AI, automation, whatever it may be. You're not changing the dynamics, you're changing the productivity and to your point, the time.
Yeah.
So
Effective,
I'll leave that with that's my final thought. What's your final thought, Jerry?
Oh, I think by far, if you guys are watching this and you think, okay, I need this kind of help, reach out to us, Jack at GetRoute, Jerry at GetRoute.com, and we'll get you in touch with Taylor. He has the experience of being in the business. He understands it enough, to be able to help you move your business forward faster. And that's what we're all about, is helping you grow your business. And so, yeah, let's get you and Taylor connected and see what we can do, to improve on your business for sure. So
Taylor, we'll drop your contact information in the show notes. You can book a call with you. What's the next steps or closing thoughts you think on your side? If someone's interested in saying, hey, what's the next steps, Taylor?
Yeah, just reach out to me and I'll give you a demo of it. I want to say something that Ricky had told me at one of the route events that was really cool. He said that, and it stuck with me quite a while, is that software is only as good as your processes. So what I try to do anytime that someone gives me a call is I try to look at what their processes are, and then I look at how we can take that. And we don't have to change your processes, but how can we free up some of your time and with those processes that you currently have with the CRM that we're using. So yeah, if anybody
Yeah.
wants to reach out, and I'm happy to give you a demo.
Awesome. We'll put the show notes, your contact information, show notes, and we'll refer people as we get going. But good conversation. 30 minutes went fast. So Taylor, thanks for joining. Jerry, good seeing you again. And let's go have a great weekend, guys.
Yeah, take
Thanks.
care.